Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Olivia Lunar Guizar, and I'm the portfolio manager for Los Adobes de Maria 1. Today, we are going to be having this meeting regarding the rehab project that we have for this property. And if you need to have this meeting in Spanish, please go ahead and go towards the bottom of the screen where you're going to be finding a little icon that is kind of like a world that says interpretation. Click on that one and you will be able to see the options for English if you would like to be having the meeting in English or in Spanish. So then you're able to hear the audio in Spanish. You're also able to ask questions in the chat room. So you can go ahead and click towards the left side. You will see a little box that says chat. You can ask your questions there. We are now going to be having Ken Triguero. He is our People's Self-Help Housing Organization CEO, and he will be leading this meeting and talking to us more about this project that we will be having in the future over at Los Adobes de Maria 1 apartments.
Great. Thank you so much, Olivia, for providing that information and getting us started. And so, right, my name's Ken Triguero, and I'm pleased to be here tonight to start talking to you about what we have been working on for quite a while. And but first, let me just take a minute to thank you, each of you, for the assistance and the flexibility that you provided us during these inspections of your homes. Over the last few months, you've really been very gracious with us to allow us to come into your homes. And it's been really important and critical for this process so that we could get in and get a chance to really evaluate the work that needs to be done and take care of, what the needs are. And we really want to do a good job on the upgrade of your units. So we really appreciate your cooperation so far on this. It's really our goal for this project to not only improve your home, but really your quality of life. So hopefully this will be a really good thing in the long run for you. So we're really excited about the work that we have planned in the project. And we want to introduce a few of the people. We have with us several people from People's Self-Help Housing. So we'll introduce a few of those to you, and we'll be taking questions. So the way that today's presentation will go is, first I'm going to give you a general overview of what we have planned for the rehabilitation, kind of a high-level summary and some of the anticipated timing that we expect. Then we'll have Joe Mangiardi. He's our construction from our construction department. He's going to give you more information about what specific improvements are going to be made for the property. And then we're going to move on to our relocation specialist, John Clendenning, and he's going to provide you with a brief presentation summarizing the relocation process and kind of what to expect. And he's going to provide you with some, hopefully every assurance that that you need so that you can see that we're going to take care of, hopefully with minimal disruption, the units through the construction for you and your family. So then finally, we're going to move into a Q&A section that Olivia was mentioning. We're going to ask some of our team members to respond to some of the questions that you might have via that chat function that you have in Zoom that Olivia was explaining. And then after we answer your questions, we're going to provide a brief closing statement. And depending on how many questions we have, we'll see how long this goes. Usually when we've done these kind of meetings, and we've done several of these type of projects in different locations that we have, usually runs about an hour. It may go a bit longer. We'll see how that goes. But if we miss a question, we're going to try to capture that. We'll somehow make sure you get the information that you need. So hopefully we're going to have a good process that you'll find useful and valuable. Now, Olivia, before I move on, are we going to take a minute to explain for anybody who's just joining now how to make sure they get into the right spot in case they want to have a Spanish translation? You want to do that? Okay.
Yes, we can do that. So I'm going to be doing it in Spanish. Is that okay?
Yeah.
That way. Okay.
Please.
Buenas tardes a todos. Bienvenidos a este evento Y en este momento tenemos a Ken Triguero, que es el CEO de la organización, para poder escuchar esta reunión en español. En la parte de abajo de su pantalla van a encontrar un dibujo como en una parte de un globo, de un mundo, y allí dice interpretación. Van a presionar ese botón y van a seleccionar el idioma de español o en inglés como quieren participar en la reunión. Si tienen alguna pregunta, algo que quisieran preguntar, se van al lado izquierdo, está una cajita donde dice chat. En esa parte van a poner sus preguntas, que al final, después de que sea la presentación, esas preguntas van a ser contestadas por Ken.
So let me just say, rehabilitation of our property, that's pretty common. Every 15 to 25 years, it depends on the property, when they were built and what type of construction it was. But this is a natural thing for things to wear out. I think you all know that. And pretty typical. The things that we're working on in a project like this include fixing the roof, plumbing, electrical systems, as well as other upgrades that are really required by the county, the codes that are changing from time to time. There's new laws that come up. Those sometimes have to do with energy efficiencies and accessibility, mobility, that kind of thing. So those are the things that we're primarily focused on many times. And we always want to take care of those as priorities. Additionally, units themselves often need repairs inside, like the flooring and windows and doors and appliances. And you're probably well aware of that, especially since this property was built in 1995. It's really part of our plan to now do a comprehensive rehabilitation for the basic operations, because really our mission, our goal is to preserve your property and all of our properties, and this one we really want to make sure that it's going to be remaining in good shape for the next 15 years. So that's how we've approached this project and planned for it, and it goes for a long time in the planning process. It's fairly complicated for us. So before we talk to you about the timing that we're expecting, I just want you to know right up front, these are preliminary estimates on our part. We're going to not be in total control of the start time of this, because it's really dependent upon the financing that we're applying for. And you're probably aware that originally the financing for this project came through the federal government, the United States Department of Agriculture, and they are still part of this project. And so in addition to that federal source of financing, we're subject to the state of California and additional financing that we are applying for to pay for all this rehabilitation. It's quite a bit of money that we have to raise. And this is really the only way, the only source that we can access. It's very competitive program. Like I say, it's very complicated. So we're really at the mercy of the state and the federal government to get these approvals. We've done this a lot of times. So we're very hopeful that we'll get this financing and then we'll meet these initial timeframes. But just want you to know that it's very common also for us to be delayed from being started, depending on the state's process and how it goes. So we're going to keep you apprised of how that goes, but just to bear in mind that these are estimates on the timing. So what we're talking about and hoping for and planning toward is to start the project, and it'll probably be in about 3 distinct phases, we'll say. So the first phase, hopefully, will start in the spring or so of next year. That's our hope. It may be pushed into the summer, but that's our hope, that we could first get started in the spring. We'll start out with involving the energy efficiency improvements that we need to do, and hopefully that won't be too invasive to you at the beginning. And hopefully too, that will actually reduce monthly utility bills. So that's a first positive we're going to hope for. So there's not a lot of, there's no relocation or major work right away. It wouldn't start till, if our timing holds, till sometime in the summer, maybe after July of 2021 at the earliest, really. And at that time, then approximately half of the property would begin construction. So we'll be doing work on the site, on the outside of the buildings, as well as the work in the units. That'll all be happening at that time. So that'd be for half of our residents, half of you, and that would begin, which will begin about a 10-month or so process. And that's where we're talking about a temporary relocation plan. So if these dates hold up, we would start that at around July of 2021, and we would hope to be ending that first phase for about half the property in around April of 2022. Now, prior to beginning each of these construction phases, our relocation specialists are going to be working with each of you and assisting you, trying to make sure we find the comparable unit and making sure you have all the necessary financial assistance. That's on us to support you. And our relocation specialists will be providing more information about that later on in our presentation here. So then at the completion of the first phase, we'll start our second phase. And so again, if this timing holds up, that second phase will probably begin around May of 2022. And then that will be completed, about 10 months after March of 2023. So that's sort of the anticipated timing that we have in mind. And what I want to do next is really turn this over to Joe Mangiardi. He's our senior construction manager. He's done this type of thing several times, got a lot of experience, and he does a really good job. But he's going to describe a little bit more about some of the things that we're excited about bringing into your new homes. So Joe, do you want to take it away? Olivia, do you have something?
Yes, sorry to interrupt.
Please.
Yeah, I'm getting some comments that the connection for the Spanish translation is cutting out, so the residents are not able to hear very well when the interpretation is happening. So I don't know if we can troubleshoot some of the connection.
Okay, let's pause for a minute before you start,
yes, please.
Joe. Yeah, and on our staff, Gabby, Sophie, are you able to? Okay, so if
okay,
do you want to translate that, Olivia? Do you have? Okay, go ahead.
Yes. Buenas tardes, residentes. Estamos recibiendo mensajes de que se está cortando la voz de la interpretación, de la traducción de la presentadora que está presentando la reunión en español. Les pedimos a todos, por favor, que apaguen su audio, que se pongan en silencio para ver si con eso podemos tener mejor conexión y puedan escuchar mejor a la traductora. Gracias. Okay, you can go ahead and go.
Great.
Thanks,
Olivia. Thanks, Gabby. So Joe, I think we're ready for you. Do you want to go ahead and take it away for your section here? Now, Joe, I can't hear you yet. Are you on mute? Or looks like you're on mute. There you go. I think I heard you. Go ahead, Joe.
Okay, can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can hear you. Thanks, Joe.
Okay, finally. Hi, I'm Joe Mangiardi, Senior Construction Manager for People Self-Help Housing. It's a great thing when you get to have significant changes made to your home and property that will enhance your life. We have been able to carefully evaluate this property and your apartments to make a list of needed improvements. These will include changes to the exterior to make walkways and access to the things you use daily more accessible and user-friendly, actually. We also plan to make significant energy efficiency upgrades to reduce your monthly bills. As Ken mentioned, this will be the first phase. We'll be doing work in replacing hot water heaters and also doing some solar PV to offset your electrical energy bills. For the apartment interiors, when we get into the serious construction phase of work that Ken mentioned in phase 2, we are planning a number of improvements to your current conditions. These may include new flooring, plumbing fixtures, cabinets and countertops, better lighting, new appliances, and more as funding allows. Finally, we're tasked with increasing the number of fully accessible units for folks with disabilities to a total of 6 on that property due to current regulations. This will require the reconfiguration of several existing buildings. The total number of apartments, 65, will remain the same. Due to the extent of the work and for your safety on phase 2 and 3, we will require vacant buildings in order to perform our work safely and efficiently. We plan to do construction in 2 major phases on the actual property itself for relocation. When phase 1 is completed, the occupants can return to their new apartments. Then we will complete phase 2. When phase 2 is done, the remaining tenants will return to a completed project. During this time, you can trust we will work to minimize the impact of our construction activities on everyone there. We will be working as a team with all departments in our great company, chipping in to help provide you a better home place to live. We have a few photographs we've put up from before and after remodels that we've done in the past. As Ken mentioned, we've done quite a few of these. I think it's just a huge transformation of these properties, and it's pretty exciting to see people come back and be greeted with a brand new property. It's like, it's fantastic. And we'll do all the work for you. And if there's any problems or questions or concerns, of course, I'll be available as well as the rest of our staff. And I look forward to getting started on this. That's all I have.
Right on. Thanks, Joe. And yeah, appreciate that you had some pictures, because it is exciting to contemplate, how this is going to turn out. And that's why, since a lot of us have done this before, we're excited for you that this is going to be happening. So thanks, Joe. Now let's move over to a little bit more on relocation. And so I want to introduce to you our relocation specialist, and he's going to give you some information regarding that process, how we're, working diligently to make this happen for you, and more about how this works. So John Clendenning, can you go ahead and take it away?
Yes, hello.
Thanks.
My name is John Clendenning. Thanks for the introduction, Ken. I'm just going to start by letting you all know that I've worked on projects like this one for people's self-help housing 5 times in the past. Actually, 4 of them were at the same time. So there's a lot of moving parts on projects like this, of course, with construction. We have painters, we have people redoing driveways, but the most important focus for me is the moving parts of you, which are the people that need to be moved around and taken care of while you're away from your homes. So like I said, we did, 6 of these projects, but 5 of them were, longer term, like what we're looking at with yours. And at several points in time, we had over 100 households out of their homes at the same time, keeping track of everybody, making sure they had nice places to stay, making sure people that were staying with their friends and family were provided with, additional money to help with their cooking and eating expenses, because you have to be away from home. My point is to let you know, this team you're listening to today, we've worked together on this in the past on multiple projects, and they all worked out really well. Of course, there's always, challenges that come up with construction, but the reason Peoples has me on staff working with our consultants is so that there can be a focus on the people, which is you, our tenants, 100% of at least some of our time. Your property manager, portfolio manager, even though you guys won't be on site during construction, they still have their jobs to do. Adding relocation and where is everybody and who needs a new place to go, it's a lot to put on top of them. So you do have a team of additional people, myself and consultants included, that will be helping you throughout this entire time. Of course, you always will be welcome to talk with your property manager and contact them with questions and things, but I want you to think of me as your primary contact. That's going to be my full-time focus, is taking care of your needs while you are displaced for this project. We didn't lose track of anybody. Nobody was homeless on any of the projects, even when we had over 100 people out at the same time. Everybody was had good accommodations. Everybody was communicated with. Everybody was very happy when they moved back into their homes when it was all done. So I just want to give you some assurance that we have done this before. Our biggest focus is making sure that your life is disrupted as little as possible. Of course, you'll be moving out, which is very disruptive. We can't, sugarcoat that. But we do everything in our power to make it go really well for you. And that's my focus, is that this is not very stressful for you and that I do everything I can to help you guys. Every one of your families is different. Some have kids, some may be retired, some people may work, some people don't. So in the future, if we do get our funding for this project, we will have to meet, or maybe if we're still doing Zoom type things, it'll be, by filling out a survey or something. We would ask you about your family's specific needs, what you're going to need while you're away from your apartments, in more detail than we're going to cover on this meeting today. So the focus today really is just to let you know that me and additional staff, we are focused at 100% on you while this is happening, and you will not be left without a place to be. We'll be fully taken care of. Sorry, I'm looking at notes. Let's see what else I want to mention. Oh, so this project is a little bit longer than some of the other ones that we worked on. So definitely we'll be trying to find apartments and single family homes to accommodate you as much as is possible. Some people, if they're by themselves or just, maybe an older couple without kids in school or something, some people have opted in the past to stay in hotels. We will arrange all of that and pay for all of those expenses. Some people actually prefer that. But it also might be that some people may have to have that option because of the number of rentals in our area. You all know what the rental market is like around here. And there's not always a ton of vacancies all at the same time. So it might be a combination of both. But the reason we start working early on all this is so that we can put everything in place properly, and you will not be leaving unless we have a place for you to go. And that's basically my main focus. If some of you can start thinking about maybe options where you have family or friends that you can stay with, that definitely obviously would be more comfortable for you rather than maybe moving into a house temporarily, moving out again. Maybe you want to stay with your brother, cousin, I don't know. But if you do that, we offer a financial offset for you to help you, if you're in someone else's house and eating all their groceries, let's say, we're going to give you money to help with that. I don't really know right now what dollar amount that will be because we are still working on our budget and our finances. But we will discuss that in the future. But just know that that is an option. Not everybody will get a 3-bedroom house. Not everyone will get a hotel. Some people will want to go out of town, and that's perfectly fine. But we will get into that with each one of your specific households when the project does become a reality, which is triggered by us receiving our funding award. We're also going to pay for everybody to be moved in and out of their places if they need professional help. If you want to do it yourself, which a lot of people actually do opt for that, we will also pay you to do your own moves. And that's per a federal schedule that we follow. It's a pretty generous amount of money. And also, if you have our professional movers do it, you know, they can store your things. If you have too many things, that can move to your temporary place. We also can help you with transportation. If you have to be on another side of town, let's say on Santa Maria than you're used to, and you have to, you know, ferry your children back and forth to school, we would help cover any increased costs that you could incur because of that. So in short, what we really are responsible to do and what we want to do is we want to make this as easy as possible for you while you're away from your home. So while construction is busy doing all the actual physical work to improve your unit, me and the property management staff and our consultants will be working very closely with each of you to make sure that you're always taken care of throughout this entire process.
Great. Thank you very much, John. That was, I'm sure, very helpful. And so now what we want to do next is move into questions that we want to open up for you that you'll have. And we want to have you start typing those into the Q&A section so that we can receive those. And then I'm going to get those and I'm going to respond to them. I'll ask certain team members here to respond as we need to. So hopefully we'll get all of those answers. So I see people are starting to type some questions in. That's good. So let me go over there and start reading some of those. Excuse me. So first one here, it looks like is the question is, if multiple households are in a Zoom session right now through one screen, should we report who all is present for this meeting? That would be helpful because we do want to make sure we are having chances to communicate to everyone. And so if we could find out from you who all may be signed on together, that'll be helpful. And so you could let us know that. You can contact us after this meeting to however that works out. So yes, that would be helpful to find out who all, if you're sharing a screen right now, who all is attending this meeting, so we understand that. Okay, so thanks for that question. And here's another one, and to reiterate, this is about a 1.5-year long project, correct? So we're really talking about 2 10-month periods mostly, and so it's just a bit longer. It's about 20 months in total is what we anticipate. That's just an estimate right now, but like I say, we've done this, you know, several times. Each property is very different, though, of course, and so that's our best approximation right now. Okay. So another question is, so how do you determine who is in the first half and who is in the second half, or the first phase, and who goes into the second phase? Now, maybe Joe, do you want to talk about how we determine kind of how that goes? Not hearing you yet, Joe. Are you there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Okay, we can hear you. Go ahead. Yes, thank you.
Yeah, what we've done is we split the property basically in half. So we'll do one half of the property and vacate that, and then keep it fenced off and protected from children and people coming in and out of there, and focus on getting those that half of the property done. All those buildings will be done at once. We'll go through them as fast as we can. I think this is the most efficient way we found to do this type of work. And then when that's done 100%, then people can move back in, and actually we can actually move out the second half. So there's a pathway right down the middle of the property that goes from the street to the back of the property where the parking area is. If you see that, if you know where that sidewalk is, we're talking about, kind of splits the property in half. So those are basically the two halves that we'll do. We haven't decided which half we're going to do first. So, but that's coming up.
Thank you, Joe. Thanks for that reply. Another question is, when are the tentative rehab dates? That's being asked because it sounds like the audio cut off at that portion. So let me repeat what we're estimating right now. If all goes well, this is our optimistic expectation, and we're able to start when we want to next year. The first phase would begin approximately in the spring of 2021, and we'll do some things more on the outside. But when we want to start getting into units, we think that's probably going to be able to start in July 2021 and then run for about 10 months. So that would end approximately April 2022. And then we would want to start the next phase of going into units to do rehab, the second half, if you will, in May 2022, and then that would be completed hopefully by March 2023. So again, that's our most optimistic estimate at this time. It's not uncommon, I'll just tell you too, though, for us to potentially experience delays at the state. This could be thrown off our start date by even a whole year. It could happen. It's just, again, it's not under our control on when we will get that financing in place for sure. But if all goes well, this is what we would expect or hope for. So let's see. Now here's a question that asks, will we have to reapply when we come back after the renovations? So let's see, I'm going to have someone from property management. I don't know if Olivia, if you want to take this, or Anna is on the line too. Yeah, Anna, do you want to go ahead?
Yeah, hi. Yes, sure. So no, residents will not need to reapply for their units, but their specific unit may be subject to change based on household size. So there is an income qualifying process that's done, but you do not have to reapply.
Great. Thank you, Anna. Okay, so here's a question. For all those months, will we be getting helped financially or for half of those months? So, and that's related to another question. It says, will I have to pay for my relocation? So no, you will not have to pay for your relocation. All the move out expenses and eligible increases for cost of living, anything like that, that is all covered by us. So hopefully that answers that question. Let's see, we have another question here. Can you provide John Clendening's contact email if I have any further questions? Yeah, definitely. Let me do that now. So you have it. So John was who you just heard talking about relocation, and his phone number is area code 805-540-2446. And his email address, since you asked for that too, is John C, so that's JOHNC @ and then it's P as in peoples, S as in self, H as in help, another H as in housing, C as in corporation.org. Okay. Let me just see what else we have here. When will people self-help know when funding is awarded? So that's a good question. And I think what I would like to do for that is Michael Hopkins, project manager here, is with us. And Michael, you might give an indication for us, once we apply for this funding, when might we expect to hear? So we'll kind of have a sense of it, that it's coming.
Great. Yep. Thank you, Ken. So we usually, it's about 3 months or 90 days after we apply for the funding. We have a good indication of when we'll be awarded. Right now, we anticipate to apply for that funding in January. There are some reasons as to why that might change based on when the funding is available. But otherwise, we're looking at a roughly 90-day period. So we're looking to know around March.
Great. Yes. Thank you, Michael. Okay. Now, here's a comment. Can you put that in the chat for more accuracy? I think that might have been referencing the contact information for John Clendenning. So yeah, if let's see, Gabby, perhaps you could get that out in the location where people can see John's phone number and email address, if you could. Okay. So here is another question that asks, when relocated, do we have to change our address or do we still receive our mail at this address? So that's a good question. I'm gonna go back to property management and do you wanna take that one? Anna, can I give that one back to you?
Sure. So I think we've done different things in the past based on how long residents will be away from the unit. In this case, because it is 10 months, I think we've worked past to get mail delivered temporarily to your new location. And then John Clendenning would be a good source of information on how we get that done, but that's probably further down the road when we get into those details.
Right, great. Thank you, Anna. So here's another question that asks, are you going to pay for the rent for the place where we're going to stay? And when will you tell us where we're going to stay? So John, why don't we have you address that one?
So I'm looking at the question, are you going to pay for the rent? So yeah, we are going to pay for your temporary accommodations while you are away from your home, and you are going to continue to pay your rent. So essentially what we are required to pay for is any increased costs in your housing for when you're gone. And as far as the leases on the apartments or the homes that we find, I will negotiate those on your behalf. If it's hotel rooms, we'll do a group contract with the hotel operator. We will pay them directly. You will just show up and check in, show your ID. If you go stay with family or with your friends, then approximately every 30 days, I would either meet with you to hand you a check, mail you a check, whatever it is, if we're going to be giving you money, to offset costs that you may cause someone else to incur that you're staying with. But we usually do those on about a 30-day cycle, just because there's a lot of checks. It's a lot of work for our fiscal staff. So we just try to make it as smoothly as possible, but we also can be flexible. Sometimes when people have a unique circumstance, their landlord needs the money tomorrow, not 2 weeks from now. That's kind of the stuff that I deal with. But yeah, you'll be well taken care of. You won't really have to do much of anything on your own other than communicate your needs to me.
Great. Thanks, John. Okay, it's for another question. This one asks, for how much time are we going to be out of the property? So we're really anticipating it's about a 10-month period when we expect that you'll be away from the property. And again, that'll be in 2 different phases, either the first phase or the second phase, but each phase is about the same because it's, we're dividing the property in about half. So, okay. So I'm looking for more questions here. Let me see. Here's another one. So will we be paying our electricity bills, etc., for this residency, but the electric bills, etc., for the other residency? Let's see. Why don't we have maybe start with Anna. How does it work for the existing units? And John, if we have some other pieces that you could reply, but Anna, do you want to start with that one?
Sure. Typically, you would leave the electricity on in the unit. It's not going to be used because it's not occupied, so it should not cost you anything more than the minimal cost for electricity billing.
Right, thank you. And John, do you want to respond to, if somebody's in the other location, how does it work for the utilities at the other location?
So we would be paying those utilities as well while they're in their temporary place.
Thank
It's an increased cost to them above and beyond. They're going to be paying our rent, and which includes, you know, utility offset and all that. So we just transfer that to what we're paying to a third party.
Right. Thanks.
Sure.
Okay. Here's a question that asks, will we be able to move back to the same department after the construction? So that is a question we don't know yet. That's going to depend on different factors. We're going to have to look at each unit's, each household's number of people that are in the household, incomes. That's something that's going to yet need to be determined. So we're not able to answer that at this time, but once we get into the process and start talking to you about each of your household situations, we'll be able to determine that. So here's another one. Will you be paying for movers, or will you just pay for transportation and storage? John, I think you may have covered this. We'll be able to provide financial assistance for all the move out expenses. Anything to add to that, John?
Just to say that also on the way back in, move out and in. Yes, we'll
Thank
cover
you.
both directions.
Okay, thanks. Okay, so here's a question that asks, if you live far from the school where your kids usually go to, how will students be transported there? John, you might be able to talk about that one. How has our experience worked in other locations?
Well, that's part of what my one-on-ones or our survey collection is going to get into with each household. Yeah, that obviously is a concern. So we collect all of the needs from, each one of your families. If, let's say, I need to find 5 3-bedroom houses for certain families, and some of them have kids and some of them don't. Well, the ones with kids, we're going to try to convince you, I guess you could say, to the one with the kids gets to be near the school. The people that don't have kids, where it's not a concern, can be a little bit further away from your current location. So it's a big logistical puzzle that we have to put together while also addressing every one of your needs. You really just need to worry about yourself and letting us know what you need, and then let us take care of putting it all together for you. But that's obviously a concern of ours, and we would prioritize people staying near their schools and jobs as much as possible. And if anybody is receiving regular dialysis and needs to be close to a dialysis center or something like that, these are all kinds of things that I will strive to find out from you so that you can be accommodated properly.
Great, thank you, John. Here's a question that says, can you walk us through the housing payment options if one is interested in buying a house and down payment terms, and if a family can have a co-borrower from family to help with the mortgage? Now, I would say to that, so we do have experience in, counseling households about home buying. So we can at least give you some ideas about that when we talk to, and John is a housing specialist, so we can sort of give you some ideas. We'll maybe help you understand, where to go next if that is really something that you want to do. So that's something you might want to bring up in the discussions once you're connecting with John. Okay. So I'm gonna see if there's more questions that I missed here. So I think I have addressed each question. Again, if I have missed something, we're going to capture this, and we'll try to make sure we share information, after this meeting, if in case I've missed anything. And of course, we're going to want to keep in touch with you through the process to make sure we cover everything. I see Morgan on our staff is popping up. Morgan, do you have something?
Hey, Ken, I'm noticing on my Q&A that there's a number of questions in Spanish. I was wondering if you're seeing those on your end.
Yes, and I'm not getting the translation. Well, I'm not sure if I'm getting those translated or not.
I can translate those questions for you.
Thank you.
Okay, great.
Thanks, Morgan. Thanks, Olivia.
Okay. So someone is asking if all the units are going to be rehab.
Yes, we plan to rehab all the units, and they'll be pretty uniform, you know, in what we do. So yeah, good question.
Okay. Some of the other questions that are in Spanish were already answered
Okay.
because somebody else asked them in English. So
Okay.
let me just go through everything.
Yeah.
So there is a question that hasn't been answered. So it says, for the people that have kids, do we like rent an apartment next to the school or a house? Also, will we be paying for it?
Yeah.
So we would
So-
like to rent a place near the school. That's pretty much what they're.
Right, yeah, and that's something that we need to know that from you. And John Clendenning, he's going to be paying attention when you meet with him about what your particular needs, desires are, so that he can understand that and see if we can, you know, accommodate that in terms of location with respect to schools, etc. But no, you don't have to pay for that. That's part of the assistance that we're going to provide.
Yeah. By when are they going to know where they're going to be living?
So I think that the question is probably if you move out of and you're off the property, when will you know which unit you're going to go back into?
No. Where are you going to be moving to during the rehab?
Oh, okay. So we're going to. So I mean, so maybe John, do you have a thought about how far in advance of the actual work do we anticipate that we'll be able to inform people where they're going to be able to go? How would you address that?
Well, normally my first step is to make sure that our project has funding. I think this one is a little bit accelerated because of the USDA financing layer, to my understanding. So I will most likely start at least looking into, you know, hotel and lease options pretty soon here, because we do have quite a few of them to address. Basically, I'm working on 2 different projects right now, similar to this one, you know, basically at the same time, but in different cities, luckily this time, to cut down on the number of units that we need to find. But I can't know where each family will be going until I have already collected information from each family. So I need to, this meeting really kind of did come up on all of us rather quickly, but that's for a reason. We do have to be meeting with you and giving certain notices early on in our process. So that's why we're doing this. I can't tell you exactly what that date's going to be, but there will be plenty of time and you will have input into that. So it's not like you're just going to be handed you know, a random place to go. You will only be given options to consider that work for your family. And that information will come after we're able to survey you and find out what your needs are. And that will be sometime after the interviews that you're all doing with our consultants right now are concluded.
Okay, so thanks, John. So just to summarize that, we of course have to have the financing in place. So that is what John is saying. That's going to be our first, that's going to be the driver for everything else. Once we have the commitment from the state about the financing, then we'll be able to move ahead. But as John said, there will be plenty of time for us to talk to you about actual location where we anticipate you'll be ending up. So it's a little, we can't name dates or anything, but hopefully that's enough assurance that we're going to provide ample time ahead of the move. I think that was the question. Olivia, do you have?
Yeah, so there's one question that says, will families have issues qualifying when it's time to move back in?
So that's a good question. So we're going to be, again, we're going to meet with you. We're going to find out all of your current information, including your income. So that's a main restriction we have, right, on the property. So early on, I think in that process, we're going to be able to determine that. And so So if there's an issue with how much you make relative to what is restricted, we're going to be informing you about that. And so we'll be getting more specific answers once after we interview you. So. Oh, here's one. It says, are we going to live in an apartment or a house, or can we choose? So I think, you know, we're going to, there's only certain amount of housing available, right, when we go out and search. And that was kind of what John was explaining. We're going to try to inventory as much options as we have. We're going to interview you and try to figure out what are your needs and desires and hopes. And so hopefully we're going to, you know, make those mesh and work out. So we do want to work with you to try to figure out, you know, which option is best for you. So that's probably how we'll approach that. We'll look for apartments that are available. We'll look for homes that are available. And hopefully we'll have, you know, a number of options. Okay. Olivia, do you see any other?
I do not.
Okay. So we're at the hour now, and I think we'll wrap up for now. But I want, well, let me add this. I think that did we get John's contact information? Yeah, the contact information, I believe, is showing up in the chat. So hopefully you can, wherever you're at, you can grab a pencil or something, make sure you get that information. You can always find out through, you know, our staff, that whoever you usually interact with to get that information. If for some reason you don't capture it right now, we will be reaching out to you to make sure we contact you too. In fact, and just maybe as a reminder, by now, hopefully you've received a call from our relocation specialist. It might have been Linda, Brianna, or Gina, asking you about your family and your relocation needs. So hopefully that's happened. But if you haven't already called them back, please do and provide, you know, some information that they're looking for about your household needs, and that'll really help us plan this out better. And make sure, you know, that we've got good information to work with. That's going to be key. So if you could take care of that, that would be great. So I think that's it for now. I really thank you for your time and for your patience. And we're really looking forward to this. Before I end though, Morgan, do you have some more concluding thoughts there?
No concluding thoughts, Ken. I saw a couple other questions pop up. I thought since we're here, maybe just take a minute to knock them out.
Thanks. Are those in Spanish? I don't see them.
I saw a couple in English and then one popped up in Spanish.
Okay.
Yes. So
Maria, go ahead.
yeah, so somebody's asking if they would like to know if they will be given the same unit when they come back. And that is a question that we already respond. Somebody else is asking, it looks like they're having some issues with the connection in Spanish, so they're not able to understand some of the words get cut up. But it says, how can we have more information regarding this, because the voice is cutting out.
Oh, okay. So yeah. If we just didn't hear a lot of this, so I was going to ask if this is being recorded, but I'm not sure if the recording would be better or not. But Gabby, could I ask you, is this session being recorded? And if so, do we plan to post this connection, say, on our website or something? Could we make this available? Yes, it is being recorded. And so I believe we should be able to make it available. We will let you know how to access this recording, and hopefully it will, be audible. But as you get connected with, oh, I'm sorry, it's going to be on YouTube. So yeah, we're going to have a way to get you there so that you can review it.
Okay.
So let's see. I think too, if you need some information, whenever you're getting interviewed by our staff or our specialist, ask the questions that you didn't get to ask then, and we'll make sure we get information back to you, however that best works in your situation.
So I do see another question here. It says, if we move to a house, would it be furnished, or we will have to set up our furniture in the new home?
Oh, so that's a good question. So John, I think that you could answer this. Now the assistance doesn't pay for furnishing, buying new furnishings or anything like that. But if it's a house and it's for rent, it would need to be furnished.
I can jump in.
Oh, go ahead, John. Thanks.
Yeah, so yeah, I mean, as you can probably tell, it will be challenging to find enough replacement houses for everybody, or apartments or hotel rooms, whatever it is. So it might be that some places come furnished. There's not really a lot of those. More frequently, those are vacation rentals, and they're pretty expensive. And people that own those, they prefer to rent them for the weekend or 1 week, not for 6 months, 10 months. Everybody's different. But if you do end up moving temporarily to a furnished unit, then when our movers, if that's the option you choose, they would put your things in storage. If you move to a vacant apartment or house and you want your things with you while you stay there, the movers, rather than putting your things in a storage facility, they would move them to your temporary house. So it really just depends what you end up with. If you go to a hotel room, obviously that will be furnished. So your most of your things will go into storage, and we will encourage you to pack, your clothing, medications, things like that you would actually need on a daily or weekly basis. But obviously, if you're in a hotel and there's a TV and a bed, you don't need those things with you. So we would pay to have those stored.
Great, thank you, John. I see another question. Can you please type in Gina's phone number as well? Now, I don't have that. Gabby, do you happen to have Gina's phone number? Or if Gina is on the line, we can have you just give that to us. Okay, I don't know that we have that available right now, but yeah, we'll make sure that we communicate the phone number for Gina after the meeting.
Okay, I see a question in Spanish. So it says, well, someone is going to be letting us know if we're going to be relocating to an apartment or a house.
You cut out for me, Olivia. Can you repeat that? I'm sorry.
Okay. What someone will let us know if we are going to be moving to a apartment or a house?
Yes, definitely. And that's John Clendenning. He'll be communicating with you back and forth. And as soon as it's finalized in terms of a selection, he'll be communicating that with you.
Will the storage be covered by the funding?
Yes, we have assistance for storage.
If we're offered a hotel, would I have a kitchen? Would we be receiving a stipend, or how does that work?
Yeah, that's a good question.
I'll take
John,
that
John,
again.
go ahead. Yeah.
Thank you. If there are some hotels in the area, we did do one of these projects in Santa Maria maybe 3 years ago, I believe. I was able to find some hotel rooms with kitchens if people want that. And if they're available, it makes it a lot more like home, for people that prefer to cook most of their meals at home. If you do end up with a hotel room and it does have a kitchen, then you would not be provided with a stipend or a meal allowance, because it would be similar to living at home where you have a refrigerator and a stove and you're buying your own groceries anyway. If you were to be in a hotel that did not have a kitchen accommodation, then we would be paying for your hotel, and we would also be giving you money for meals while you're away from your kitchen facilities at home.
Thank you. Thank you, John. Here's a question. If we want a house, do we pay for it or no? Now, I'm not sure if you're asking, if you want to buy a house versus, rent a house. So what we're going to do is calculate an amount of financial assistance that you're entitled to. It's by law, and it's going to be based really on what you're paying for your apartment versus the market. There's a calculation, in other words. So we're going to be able to offer that assistance. Now, if you're at the point where you want something above what we're able to assist, even though we're able to assist you something that's comparable, then you could, do that. You would have to supplement with your own money for something above what we're able to assist. I'm not sure if that's that question or not, but hopefully that is helpful. Okay. So I'm looking for any others. I don't see any other new questions. How about you, Olivia? Do you see anything?
I don't see anything new. We do want to remind residents that they have to turn in a form that's supposed to be signed in by them and turn it into the office. I know the manager hasn't received many responses from that notice that was needed to be provided back to the property manager with the co-head or head of the household signature.
Right. Okay. Thanks, Olivia. And also, just to note, I do see that the email address for Gina Rodriguez is in the chat. So hopefully you can take a minute to grab that if you want that. We don't have a phone number right now, but if you can use the email for now, hopefully that will connect you. And I think that's probably it. Olivia, were you about to say something more?
Yeah, I think Michael and I will be working on a notice to all residents, providing them all the contact info for who they can reach out, so we can add Gina's and John and everybody else that the residents are requesting to reach out to. That way they're able to have that access in case they need to contact the rest, all this stuff.
Super. Okay. Okay, thanks, Olivia. And I really thank you all for your time and attention. These are really great questions. This is just the start of our process, at this point. So we're going to be able to provide more information, but we at least want to start here and get you, oriented with what we're thinking, where we're at, how this works, and we'll keep you informed as we go. So again, we're really hoping this will be a good thing, even though it's a lot to, of change happening for the long run. Hopefully this will be a great improvement, and we're pretty sure you'll be pleased. So thanks again. We'll talk to you again soon. Hope you all have a great rest of your evening. Thank you.